Hello, everyone. Welcome. Is this our third installment this year of our webinar series that we do with Goodyear and the Goodyear Tire and Service Network. And so I hope everybody is having a great Tuesday. We are located here in Chicago, and it is a beautiful, sunny, blue sky. We are officially in fall now. I think Monday started fall, and so I hope everybody's summer was great. I hope everybody's excited about the fall. I know I'm looking forward to it. We have a great presenter today in Kathleen, and we were just talking about football and all of the things that we all enjoy about this time with this time of the year. As I mentioned, Goodyear. We are so thankful for Goodyear. And this is part of your program with the Tire and Service Network, that you are a MAP member. And a couple of years ago, we partnered and said, hey, what can we do, and how can we share some really great information and insights that we get with all of the Tire and Service Network. And so we've been doing this webinar series now. This is our year two, and so we're really thankful for everybody that has joined us today. We'll have one more this year yet, towards the end of the year, and if everything goes right, we will be back next year and doing these again. And we really enjoy it. We really love doing these. It's a great way for us to connect with so many shop owners, and so appreciate everybody joining today. If you want to view this again or share this when we're with other employees or other shops, or whomever, this is being recorded, and we'll be able to share this with all of you when we're done. And so we'll post that, and you'll get notification when it's posted. So I don't want to take up too much time today, because we've got somebody way more important than I am, and that's Kathleen Long from RepairPal and Yelp. And let me say this: she has now done a few of these speaking engagements with us, and every time I walk away with so much knowledge, and she does such a great job. And so I know that you will be walking away from today's webinar with some really good things that you can do to improve your business, and also you'll be entertained. She does such a great job. And so Kathleen, welcome back first off, and so glad that you are here with us today. And I know with your busy schedule, it's hard to get these things, but I certainly appreciate this. And on behalf of all the Goodyear Tire and Service Network shop owners and others that are on this webinar, thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I am excited to be here, and I really appreciate you having me back so that I can be a veteran of this webinar stuff. I've also presented in person for AMRA and MAP, which I'm proud of as well. And like you were saying, it gives us a chance to chat about football and other things. And I'm excited to share some marketing ideas so that these stores hopefully can implement marketing programs that help them to be as winning as my fantasy football team is this year, which I'm undefeated, y'all. So I'm excited about this. Now that I've said this, I have to knock on wood or something, right? Because now I just jinxed my team for next week. But in any case, it is also the anniversary of my 11th year at RepairPal, which we were acquired by Yelp last year, but my tenure is ongoing. And so it's a fun way to celebrate. Jeff was pointing out that I think it was last time I did a webinar, it was like my birthday. So apparently I only come on here for major life events. But with that, I'm gonna jump right into this. I think I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if I can share the right window here. Ooh, I think I did it. Let me know if you don't see this, but we should be on unlocking growth.
Yes, Kathleen,
are we good?
All
okay, set. Awesome. I love it when something works. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. If you don't know who RepairPal is, we introduce certified shops to new customers through our website. We're one of the largest sites for auto repair, both in terms of the number of shops we have on service, which is over 4,000 at this point, and also through recommendations of our partners. Goodyear is also partnered directly in some cases with CarMax. So I'm sure you've heard of that. We have many other partners as well, over 100 of them, including USAA and Consumer Reports. And we also help shops with retention by providing independent third-party quality satisfaction certification and proof of fair prices with our estimator. But enough about us and more about you. So let's talk about marketing and how, like I said, you can set a winning program for yourself. So let's talk about why marketing matters more than ever. Consumers really want to connect with the businesses that are in their local area, and they're loyal to brands that share their values. And so when brands share similar values to their customers, it creates that sense of trust. And RepairPal has been about trust since the very beginning. So it's something that, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about and working on here. And so if you can demonstrate that you have similar values to your customers, they'll be more likely to believe you. And it'll help you to demonstrate that you understand their needs and interests, and ultimately create brand loyalty between you and your customer. And, you know, I'm sure you're aware of this, but if you're not online, you're invisible these days. It's not just about getting your name out there. It's about being where your customers are. And so about 77% of customers use the internet to find and research businesses in general and auto repair shops in specific. So having that strong online presence in multiple channels sets your shop apart from competitors in your area. So to that end, you've got to be easy to find, and where and how your shop appears on search engines like Google when customers are searching make a big impact. Obviously, that's a place where RepairPal and also Yelp can help, but this is also a place where you can help yourself, and that's where search engine optimization, or what we call SEO, comes into play. So let's dive into that topic and talk about how you can rank higher on Google and other search engines. So search engine optimization is the process of improving your website so that it ranks higher in search engine results, and that's organically. Now, obviously, you can also improve your results by doing paid advertising. But here we're going to focus on these organic results, which happen when words that customers type into search engine to find services. And what we find in auto repair at RepairPal is that people are doing a lot of what we call long tail SEO searches, meaning they're typing their question into a search bar and hoping for a result. Like, you know, I'm having a problem with my 2014 Honda Civic. You know, it is making a strange noise, or my engine is overheating, or I have this particular dash light on. People are typing in these search questions. And that's one way that somebody might be introduced to your auto repair shop. A second thing that helps your search engine optimization is what's called backlinks, and that's links from other websites that point to yours. Why would other websites be pointing to yours? Well, it could be because you have profiles on multiple websites. And it could be because you have content that is being shared from other websites and so on. And then there's something called meta tags, which is HTML tags that describe your page's content to the search engines. And we'll talk a little bit more about how to maximize each of these things. So as I was mentioning, there's short tail, which is general phrases like auto repair, and then long tail, which I gave you the example of. Content helps you rank higher for both of these kinds of searches. So it could be a blog, it could be relevant information on your website, it could be answering questions your customers are searching for and using keywords naturally in your headings and body text. It could even be reviews of your business that contain words that search engines might be looking for or that customers might be searching for. So having a clean, user-friendly website makes it easier for customers and for search engines to navigate. It should be mobile-friendly. Google will rank you higher if you have a mobile-friendly website. And that's because over half of traffic comes from mobile devices. We find on RepairPal.com that actually over 70% of our traffic is coming from a mobile device at this point. So optimizing your website content, if you've got high quality, relevant content, that's going to keep your consumers engaged. They're going to spend more time on your website, and that's going to help you to rank higher. Using keywords naturally in your headings and body text, figuring out what your customers are searching for or what services that you really want to rank highly for. So, if you're looking to increase, let's say, obviously Goodyear, people are looking for tires. They're probably going to find you. But what about the other services that you provide or that you'd like to rank for? Making sure that you have content on your website that's organized around those services will help you to rank highly for those as well. And then Google's AI assistant is going to display relevant content based on what's being searched for, and you want to come up in those answers. So there's on-page SEO, which is meta tags and descriptions. And so you want clear, engaging title tags that are specific to what you're trying to attract, again, and making sure that your title is under 60 characters and your description is under 160 characters. So you remember in the old days where on Twitter, back when it was called Twitter, you had to write, very succinct posts in order to meet those requirements. Again, that's similar to what you want to do for SEO. So it's like a headline for a newspaper article, and then it's the description just underneath about what the headline's about. So, so where we have brake service, and then it's ensure your safety with top-notch brake services from Buckeye Complete Auto Care in Columbus. Again, just an expansion of the title and header text, and making sure that those two things work together is important for showing up high in the search results. So local SEO, so most auto repair customers search locally, so that's where your focus should be. I think one of the beautiful things about auto repair is that it is, even when it's a national brand like Goodyear, it is very much a local service that you're providing as a part of your local community. And you want to show up when someone searches for repairs in your specific area. So making sure that your Google My Business profile is correct with a correct NAP, which is not as relaxing as it sounds like. It's more about name, address, phone number, and making sure that you're adding photos, services, regular updates. Updating your content both on your website and your Google My Business page ensures that you will regularly be crawled and therefore, come to the top of search results. You also want regular customer reviews. So encouraging happy customers to leave reviews on places like Google, RepairPal, Facebook, Yelp, across all of those sites, responding to your reviews, good and bad, to build trust. Which, I'm sure you've heard the saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. In some ways, there's no such thing as a bad review if you respond to it in a good way, which is really acknowledging the review, highlighting your professionalism and expertise. I will say almost every business out there, if they've got, any kind of any number of reviews, at some point they're going to get a bad one. And in fact, it shows that consumers trust reviews more if, in fact, there are some that are disagreeing, where somebody has suspiciously good reviews, like only 5-star reviews or 500 5-star reviews or something like that. It seems fake. And so having reviews that are across a range of performance is important. Obviously, you also don't want 500 bad reviews, but that's not likely to happen. So rather than hyper-focusing on the bad reviews that you have, it's about building out a complete profile and getting as many reviews as you can so that there's somewhat of a range of performance across a variety of dates, across a variety of different customers with different needs and so forth. That's really going to help you in terms of your online profile, consumer believability, and trust in your business. So having talked about that, let's talk about social media and what's called user-generated content. So 70% of consumers say that they're more likely to choose a business that has a social media presence. That's because this is a way of really humanizing your business. This is where your customers are hanging out. This is a way of sharing content and relevant information and expertise And keeping your social media platform pages active and relevant is really important. So social media is like a digital storefront. You'll be able to reach new customers. You'll be able to build trust and loyalty. You'll be able to drive leads. And importantly, just like you can see in this really fun photo from Christian Brothers, you'll be able to really humanize your business. You can share stories about your employees. You can share promotions or things that are going on in your business. And you can really put a face to the name. So keys to building a social media presence is being brand consistent, using the same logo and colors across all your social platforms for consistent branding. I'm sure Goodyear would like you to do that as well. Making sure, again, that your business info is complete. And that you are, consistent. I've seen many businesses where the hours are listed on one platform one way and on another platform another way. For example, maybe you expanded your hours or changed them at some point. Making sure when you make these changes, you make them across every platform where your business might have a presence is really important. Keeping your contact information up to date, etc. Using relevant keywords in your posts about auto repair, car maintenance, featured services, and making sure that you repeat those across your biography, your posts, your captions. That's going to improve your search visibility. You also want really clear CTAs or calls to action. You want prominent contact information and strong calls to action like book an appointment now or give us a call, etc., that encourage potential customers to reach out for inquiries, appointments, quotes, that kind of thing. It's really important that we do that. And so often, even over the phone, when people are answering the phone, they don't ask for the appointment. It's really, really important across both physical and digital channels that we just ask for what we want, which is for customers to start engaging with our shop. And then we want to create content that resonates. And so there's a variety of different flavors of content that really connects with customers. It's educational, which are maintenance, tips, how-tos, videos, just highlighting your expertise. Promotional, that's your seasonal discounts, your service specials, any kind of referral programs or rewards that you have. Spotlighting. So now is where you can take some of those happy customers that are maybe leaving you those 4- and 5-star reviews and highlighting them, or highlighting some unique repair stories. Community involvement. We talked earlier about how auto repair is, a Main Street local business, and showing how you participate in community causes that are important to you, which may or may not be related to auto repair, is also important. One of my favorite shops, we were just campaigning last week for a right to repair on Capitol Hill. And this is a shop in Santa Clara. Their particular thing, they love dogs. And so a lot of their community involvement is centered around that, around, saving animals and animal shelter and so forth. And they raise money and have dogs to their shop and all of that kind of thing. And that's really very fun. And their social media presence highlights that community involvement. And that's, again, where you humanize yourself, where you make yourself a part of your local community. Behind the scenes content is awesome. Showcasing your team and the repair process. Many times people are using digital vehicle inspections now. They're creating little videos for their customers to show them what's wrong with the car. The fun part about that is that's also creating content for your social media platform. And those short, engaging videos that can demonstrate the repairs, highlight consumer experiences, show, how you diagnose certain issues that might be wrong with the car, that sort of thing. And these don't have to be professionally produced pieces. It's better if they're not, actually, especially for social media platforms. Again, humanizing the experience and just making it easy for someone to see what it would be like to do business with you. So here next on these slides, we just have a few examples of this with a RepairPal certified shop, Kovac Automotive. Veering a bit to the left or right, normal wear and tear can cause your vehicle's alignment to get out of whack. Get your vehicle driving back on the right path with an alignment service. Very simple message. It's written in very human language. And they've got like a nice little spin on this. pun very much intended. I always intend for the puns. So this is about staying on the right path with a wheel alignment. And, cute dog photos never hurt. Some other examples of seasonal content, when do you put up holiday decorations? And, they're just kind of humanizing again and talking about it. And then on the right-hand side, a little joke about working on all makes and models, and showing, putting together a kid's car, right? So again, not everything has to be centered around the technical aspects of auto repair. It can be about what's going on. Holiday content, we're coming up upon that at this particular time of year. And it can also be just humanizing the people in the shop. Okay, so I talked a little bit about community engagement. It's one of my favorite parts of auto repair shops. And when I talk to shops as part of my work at RepairPal, I love to talk to them about the things that they're doing in the community. I haven't yet had a single shop tell me they don't do anything. So that community engagement and highlighting that as part of your shop's profile is a really fun way of engaging with your customers. Customers are more likely to trust and support businesses that are actively involved in their community. But of course, and I'm sure that you are, either as an individual or as part of your shop. And highlighting that is really important, because then your customers know what you're involved with. And it provides more opportunities for your customers to advocate for you and to get involved with your shop on a different level other than the customer relationship. So there's many different ways of engaging with your community, and I'm sure you could probably share some of these with me too, but the ones that we've identified are sponsoring local events, like supporting school fundraisers, sport teams, charity events, etc., and offering discounts to local heroes like your teachers, first responders, veterans, etc., collaborating with other local businesses that are non-competitive, like neighboring coffee shops, for example. That's one of my favorite collaborations, because I am very much a coffee drinker. But there are many others that I'm sure you could think of depending on who's in your neighborhood. You could certainly host community workshops on basic car maintenance, safety tips. I like the ones that are engaging with women or young people. Sometimes if your shop is located in an area with lots of college students, for example, that can be a great place to engage with your community. And then getting involved online, so taking what you're doing in real life and making that visible in your online communities, and asking for feedback there, sharing your local stories, promoting your community engagement or community achievements can be a great way to do community engagement as well. So here again are some examples from some fun RepairPal certified shops. The one on the left is donating socks. The one on the right is sponsoring a local soccer team, which is a lot of fun, because then you get to go see the games. And teaming up with local businesses, and this shop I've visited in person. On the bottom left is Kathleen Callahan, and she is in Inglewood, Florida. There are many Inglewoods in the United States, actually, but this is Florida. And she does a great job of community involvement and engagement at her shop. We call her the other Kathleen over there at Expert Tech. And so, again, this benefit of cross promotion is important, because it elevates other businesses and again creates that loyalty in her community for her, so her customers wouldn't go anywhere else. So, all of these things actually are really great for retention and to keep customers coming back. But some additional thoughts on retention are delivering on your brand promise and thinking about your employees as brand ambassadors. So training your staff to represent your brand values in every interaction. And friendly and knowledgeable employees create these positive experiences that encourage customer loyalty, and making sure that you interact with your customers. Encourage your staff to use specific messaging that aligns with your brand. and that emphasizes your company's values. For example, emphasizing transparency in pricing or providing updates throughout the repair process, that kind of thing. And then again, thinking about how your digital presence emphasizes this, celebrating your technicians and their achievements, celebrating their important moments, humanizing them, and encouraging your community to connect with them is always a great idea. Celebrating young technicians, as we're doing on the left here, Zach's first day at automotive school. On the right, 59 auto repairs showing that they're eco-friendly, and giving customers a peek sort of into the back of office, if you will. They're giving oil a second life and reducing reliance on traditional heating, which is an awesome thing to demonstrate. And then you can think about loyalty programs and incentives. So there's some that you could certainly sign up for, services that are out there that'll allow you to do this electronically, you know, with an iPad. But you could also go old school with the punch card system, points-based rewards. You can offer some exclusive perks. And we certainly always recommend doing a referral program, encouraging your customers, referring their friends. Word of mouth is really, really important for new customer growth at an auto repair shop. And, you know, frankly, it's the best kind of referral that's out there, because when people are willing to refer your shop or your business, it's the best compliment they could give you. And why not incentivize that word of mouth? So turning happy customers into your best marketing tool, you can do this with reviews. So 93% of consumers say online reviews influence their purchasing decisions. It's the vast majority, right? So here are ways to get more of them. Ask them directly. You'd be surprised how many businesses forget to do that, but it's really a very simple thing to do. You can do an automated follow-up by sending up a follow email or text. With a link to your review page. Chances are you've already shared either via email or text message that digital inspection. So it's just one more communication, encouraging customers to visit your review page or pages, and you can alternate. So where you have like multiple platforms and maybe that feels a little bit overwhelming, you know, thinking, okay, gosh, like I've got reviews on 5 different places. Which place should I send my customer? You can just alternate among them. So, you know, email 1 is about your Google reviews. Email 2 is about, you know, your Yelp reviews, and so on and so forth. You can highlight reviews in your marketing. So when you get a great review, share it everywhere. That's free content for you and your business. It's not something you had to be creative and think up. It's the easiest and simplest thing to share. And you can acknowledge, as I mentioned before, all feedback, thanking customers for their positive reviews and addressing negative feedback in a constructive way, no matter how annoyed it might make you, no matter how off base sometimes customers are. And yes, we know that this happens. I can't tell you how many times, you know, we've seen customers just super confused. They came in for a tire service and then later their air conditioning stopped working, so they blamed you. I get it. That kind of stuff happens. But making sure that you're addressing that constructively is the most important part, because it shows you value customer opinions, even when they're not accurate opinions, and that you're committed to listening to your customers and to continuous improvement. And then, you know, I've mentioned this before, referrals and word of mouth, and how important this is. You can offer incentives to people for offering you these referrals. You got to make it easy for them to refer you. Create a really simple referral process, like a link or a QR code on your repair order, on emails, or on your website, engaging and informing your consumers about your referral program. And then when you get a referral, and this is an important note, follow up and show appreciation. That showing of appreciation encourages the next referral. A very simple, you know, note, thank you, can go a long way, and it reinforces the positive experience that you've had. Recently, I made a referral to a local business in my area, and I got a little card in the mail. Well, what did I do when I got that card? I told 5 more people. And look, you know, wanted to refer this business in the first place, but sometimes we get busy and then we forget. And getting those acknowledgments incentivizes people to go out and do that again. So leveraging user-generated content, or what we call UGC. There's an acronym for absolutely everything in this world. It kind of drives me nuts. But when people talk about UGC, this is what they're talking about. It builds trust and it generates 4 times higher click-through rates than your own generated or branded content. And so when you have this on your website, it also improves your SEO. So again, showcasing those customer testimonials, which is the best user-generated content, using before and after visuals and video testimonials, and creating a testimonial section on your website are all really good ways of leveraging this important and very valuable content. So here's some examples, again, of real life shops doing just that, highlighting their 5-star reviews on their website, highlighting them on social media, and showing exactly how the technicians are engaging and so proud of their work for their customers. Just awesome stuff. And then here's some tools where you can market a little smarter, instead of having to work harder to do all of this stuff, because it can be overwhelming when you think about all the various things that you have to do. And by the way, you're absolutely my heroes. I know how hard it is to run an auto repair shop. For the last 11 years, I've been listening to all the difficulties, all the many things that you have to think about when you're a small business owner. So don't do it all on your own. Buy some tools that help you improve your ranking. We recommend SEMrush, Moz, and Ahrefs. And so SEMrush helps you with your keyword research. Moz focuses on on-page SEO optimization and site auditing, and Ahrefs specializes in backlink analysis and keyword tracking. There are others out there, so you can obviously Google these concepts and get other recommendations as well, so that you can get the best price. But no need to do this on your own. There are a lot of tools out there to assist you. Managing your online reviews, there's sites that will help you do this. Your own CRM system may also have some tools or some representatives that work there that would be happy to help you manage your online reviews. You can also use services like reputation.com or Podium to do this. And then creating these marketing assets that look so beautiful and professional can be overwhelming. I am a talker. I am not a visual design creator at all, but Canva has made it so easy for me to create assets that promote all sorts of things. I do things inside of work. I also work with a nonprofit. I do a lot of marketing on behalf of that nonprofit. And, you know, Canva makes it easy for me to help them look professional when we're putting things together in this regard. And when I don't have my own marketing team at RepairPal who's so good at this to rely on, right? So you can choose from pre-built templates, drag and drop edits. And we offer a Canva kit for certified shops that has expert video guides and some templates and things that we've created for our shops to use. Really super simple when you get help from a service like this. The other thing that we do offer at RepairPal, we have a marketing masterclass. We have 12 different topics, which are deep dives into all of these things that are available. This has just been a little taste or preview of that masterclass. We'd be happy to offer it to you. You can contact us if you're not already part of RepairPal to get certified and obviously join our network. You can also contact us if you're already a RepairPal shop and you're interested in getting access to these resources. We have them available to you, and we'd love to talk with you either way, of course. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if there are any questions or anything that I can answer for anyone today.
Kathleen, you did a great job. And
this is coming a short period of time.
this, you know, and it's an interesting topic, because even as us as an organization, we're going through some of this as well, as making sure our websites are
optimized for SEO, making sure it's part of the AI algorithm for the questions. And so I've been digging into a lot of this work these last few months to make sure we're doing the right things. And you really echoed what, all of the things that others have said as well. And so the advice that you gave to the shop owners today, I think was spot on. But I have some questions, and maybe we'll give some time. If you guys have a questions, you can do it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll get to you. But while you guys are thinking about your questions, I have a few of them. As a shop owner, if you've been around long enough, there's going to be a point in time where you're probably going to get a negative review. Somebody had different expectations, or something got away from the shop, and so if they do get a negative review, what do you suggest they do? How should they go about it so it doesn't destroy their reputation and so on and so forth?
Yeah, the first thing I recommend is to take a deep breath. Every shop owner that I do business with really takes pride in doing high quality work, and works so hard. And like I said earlier, shop owners are my heroes. It's a very difficult business to be in. And so when you get a negative review, it's like a gut punch a little bit, because a lot of times that's something that you work very hard on, or where the customer is simply not understanding something. Customers are not always easy to deal with. They are challenging. They are tough. We talk to consumers all the time, and I get it. And so I think it's really, it's more about how you want your business to look to the outside world online, and less about that specific customer interaction. And with that in mind, and with your shop values in mind, you need to write a response to that review that demonstrates why you're awesome. And so that's what I would say. And I said this earlier, but I'll repeat it, which is, if you never get a negative review, actually, it makes your reviews seem less credible. Every business has issues or problems. Every business has an off day. Every business has a customer that doesn't understand the service they tried to provide. Every business has a customer who got great service but didn't enjoy the price of the service, or whatever the issue might be, right? And car repair isn't fun, and none of us are like, gee, I hope my car breaks down so I have a reason to go to the shop today, right? Like, nobody's hoping for that. So it's already a challenging experience for the consumer, particularly if it's an unscheduled repair versus the scheduled maintenance. And so it's a stressful situation for a consumer. And if they knew what they were doing, and they knew exactly what was wrong with the car and all of that stuff, they wouldn't need the shop. So the customer is already sort of in a position where they're relying on somebody else, and having to put trust in them. And so that's a difficult emotional position for a consumer to be in. So at the end of the day, it's really just about shops understanding that this is part of doing business, that they're going to have, some negative input, and responding to that online as positively as they can.
Yeah, so that's well said, because sometimes I think we get that. Sometimes I take negativity, I take it to heart so much where I can even become paralyzed. And so taking a deep breath and turning it into something actionable, and how do you make the best of that? How do you fix the problem with that customer, and how do you make this the whole situation better for your businesses? I think is a great way to look at it. A lot of things that you talked about today was around a brand, building your brand and what do you want it to stand for. And then I also know that, I grew up in a family-owned shop. A lot of times we didn't have time to think about our brand. We were so hustling, trying to get cars done, and thinking about tomorrow's schedule and next week's schedule. For a single shop if they wanted to really start to think about what their brand means, what advice would you have for them to get started, or to think about, when it comes to kind of brand identity?
Yeah, so I have a few pieces of advice here, actually. So one is, like, pay attention to those great reviews. That's a start. What are people saying about you? What do they really enjoy about doing business with you? Why did you get started in the business in the first place? Why did you want to open a shop? What was your intention? Who did you want to be to your community? Ask your employees. They certainly have a view of the business and what they're doing for customers. And there's some words that might stand out there. And if you're still stuck, you can take some of those reviews or some of those comments that you're getting from your employees or others. You can actually feed them into ChatGPT or something like that and say, if a business is getting these kinds of comments and these kinds of reviews and this kind of, what does this suggest about the brand? And it'll sort of synthesize some of that. Now, it might sound a little mechanical or maybe not in your words or whatever, but it'll do a good job of summarizing some of that for you. And then you can take that summary and use that to start building your brand values, because you have a brand, whether you're actively working on it or not, you have one. It happens automatically, right? It's just like kind of my employees and my customers and the people I deal with all the time have an impression of me as a person, whether I've worked to make that the case or not, which, by the way, I very much have worked to make that a case. I want to stand for something that's very important to me. But really taking ownership of that and amplifying that and working on that, I think is an important step for a business to take. And it's a little easier these days with tools that help you to really, talk about these things and solidify these things. So, take use of the tools that are out there, but also, let your customers, let your employees, let your biggest fans help you define what that is.
When I've been part of this association now for 8 years, and one of the exercises that we did early on is we had this table full of words, and we picked them that we thought described our organization. And there were things in there like competent and hardworking and and a lot of that stuff. And I remember there was one card on the table that nobody picked, and that was the word fun. And we had to think about wow, so our brand doesn't represent fun in any way. And the question was, do we want it to? And so but the point is really to spark a conversation between the employees here of what does our brand stand for and mean. And like I said, there's a lot of tools out there, but I think for like you said, for any shop, you have a brand already, whether you work on it or not. And so it doesn't reflect where you want to go. And if not, doing some exercises can really help you move the brand in your intended direction versus what other people's direction could push it. So no, that was absolutely great. Kind of on the same lines of that, as shops are so busy working on cars and marketing, it's so important, and sometimes it gets put on the back burner. If a shop could only do one thing a week, would you have advice for them on just maybe one or two things that they could really do to really help their brand and help their business?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's important too, because a lot of times, we think of each thing that we have to do and we think, oh, let me do something unique for each thing. And really, you can create one good piece of content and use it in a lot of different ways. It's kind of like all the ways that maybe like mom used to use hamburger meat when we were growing up, right? Like she'd buy like the big economy pack of hamburger meat or whatever, and then it would be like 10 different meals. So I like to think about that, right? And that, it would show up in all these different ways and things like that. My mom could do that also with pinto beans because she was born in El Paso, and so she could find 100 different things to put pinto beans in, stuff where pinto beans had no business being, by the way, like macaroni and cheese. I was like, we don't need macaroni and cheese with beans in it. Like, it was just silly. But you can do the same thing with your shop. Like if you've made a video or short video or whatever, don't be afraid to share that across every single, social channel. Don't be afraid to use it multiple times, right? Not every piece of content needs to be unique. I've talked with shops a number of times in a number of different ways about shop marketing. I'm going to keep talking about it because it keeps being a topic that shops want to hear about. I'm going to use some of the same ideas over and over again because they're still relevant or still true. And so as long as the content is still accurate, still relevant, still reflects what you want from your shop, you can share it, multiple times or multiple different ways. And you can decide what the most relevant thing, for your brand is. And what your local community is doing, because every community is a little bit different. And so once you've dialed that in, those are the places where you want to double down. And, in the places where you don't have time or you need extra help, I would say, don't be afraid to hire that extra help, and you can be creative about it. I think some of the best, social media experts out there are actually like high school and college kids, right? And so maybe you have somebody who helps you 3 or 4 hours a week, as kind of like an internship basis that helps take some of that expert content and create the posts for you. And then all you have to do is review them for accuracy before they go out, or, right? And so be creative a little bit about, how you engage maybe even your community. And encouraging, like we said, user-generated content, or encouraging your customers to do those reviews or to post about them, or whatever, because then they're doing some of the work on your behalf because they had such a great experience at your shop. And thinking about that last, like putting a request for reviews on your invoice. You only have to do that the one time, and then every invoice that prints out has that on there, right? So.
I think that's a great way to get your family and friends involved in your business too, and maybe you have sons or daughters or husbands or wives that aren't into cars or the vehicle side of things, but want to be involved in some degree. And maybe there's a TikTok video that they can create around an event that's in your neighborhood or in your town. And so I think you're right. I think it's a great way to get other people involved in your business, and also comes with a fresh look, comes with a different perspective than maybe you have as a shop owner. So I think that's a really really great thing. Now, with all of this work, all of this branding, we've figured out what our brand is going to be, and we're doing social media posts. We've done these things. That work is going to attract certain types of customers. And, I kind of look at it, there's a couple different groups of customers. One, you're going to have a group of customers that are just really value type customers that are looking for the lowest price possible. And then there's going to be, the high quality customers that are really there to ensure that they get the proper job done and the right services, right parts that match that car. Are any advice for them to attract more of those high quality customers? Are there certain platforms or there are certain types of activities that they should do that is more geared towards those high quality customers?
Yeah, I think high quality customers value different things. Obviously, there are some groups of customers, and depending what community you're in or what your demographics are in, you're going to have, a different type of customer. If you're in a college town, with a lot of kids, running around with the older cars, you're going to have more of a value-based customer base potentially. Higher quality customers tend to value, convenience and service. And so really leaning in and emphasizing those things about your business is going to be important. And depending what social platforms you're on, like you're going to attract a younger customer on TikTok, for example. You're going to attract customers that are more our age on, Facebook, quite frankly, right? We're the only ones there anymore. The kids are not on Facebook anymore at all. Right. My son would be like, oh my God, you tagged me in a Facebook post from like, I just noticed it. I'm like, that was like a year ago, because he's just not on there anymore. And so I think really understanding sort of where your customers are at, and where they're likely to engage or interact with you, and then making sure that your services and your messages line up with that. So if you do have more of a value-oriented customer in your neighborhood, then coupons can be great. but you're not going to attract like the customer that doesn't care about as much about price, or is concerned more about convenience, with a coupon. So you've really got to line up what you think your community needs, who your customer is, and then make sure that your business profile reflects attracting that customer. They can all be great customers, they can all be loyal customers, but it's really about making sure that you match that up, and that your services are complete for the kind of customer that you want to attract, right? Obviously, as well, because those high value convenience based customers aren't going to want to mess around with things too much. So make sure that that you can do the full and complete job, which isn't getting any easier to do, right? With the OEMs choking back on some of the tools and information that we have available to do our jobs, right? Which is why right to repair has been so important recently too. But making sure that that you can really do the full and complete job for those customers is important.
Yeah, and that's a great distinction, that, all customers can be great and all customers can be loyal. It's just, getting us all to think about, are we attracting the ones that we are targeting? And then do we have the services and all of the things that align with that type of customer? And so that's a good thing for shop owners to really think about. So I think that is great advice. I'm going to ask Timothy here if there's any other questions in the chat that we didn't get to so far. Looks like we've gotten to them all. And then one of the things that I, love about our partnership is, MAP is so much geared towards helping shops build trust with their customers, and RepairPal and Yelp just totally align with that, and the work that you guys do on the consumer side, getting consumers the information they need to pick really good shops, like shops that are part of RepairPal and part of Goodyear Tire and Service Network. And so I just appreciate all the things that you do and your organization does, because you are on the right side of the automotive repair industry, and everybody on this call really benefits from the work that you and RepairPal and Yelp does. So on behalf of everybody, I just appreciate you, Kathleen, for everything that you do. And I want to thank everybody on the webinar today for spending their time, their lunch on their very, very busy days to learn a little bit about marketing and all of the things that are out there to help you grow your business. And we will, like I said, this is recorded, and of course we will push this along to all the shops that didn't have a chance to join us live today. They'll be able to view this later on. And so, Kathleen, I know you're very busy, and I will let you get back to your very busy day, but always appreciate you, always appreciate everything that you do. And I am sure we will see each other at a conference sometime soon. And everybody on the Tire and Service Network, thank you so much for what you do for our industry. And we will see you all in the fourth quarter at the next webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone.
Hi.